I'm new to YouTube, y'all. So if this is your first time checking me out and you kind of want to know who I is, you look down at the bottom of your screen, you'll see my name is DEEP3R1. You can go like, follow, subscribe to me on IG, Twitter, right here on YouTube and Facebook, and on Patreon. I am a certified master life coach. What I do is I teach people how to use dynamics, whether it's male, female, social, power dynamics, to empower themselves for self-development and success in relationships. That is what I do. So today we're going to talk about high value. Now, if those of you are new to me, I've talked about this a little bit on a few of my podcast episodes. Please go check out the In Too Deep show on podcasts. You can find it on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. For some reason, the search is kind of weird when you go search for it. So you can type in DEEP3R1. It will come up that way. I believe there might be another podcast with a similar name, and that's why. And I changed the name of the podcast on season 2 from the Deeper Love podcast, the In Too Deep show. So if you cannot find it, you can find all the links to all my goodies down below. There's a link to the podcast for you to go check it out. I would appreciate it. Follow, subscribe. Do the damn thing for your boy. I would appreciate it. So today we're talking about the high value conversation. And I said that I wasn't gonna spend a lot of time talking about Kevin Samuels, and I've mentioned him before in prior podcasts and prior videos, but he just ain't seeming to go away. And the thing that's really attached to him is high value. And a lot of people have gotten on this high value train and they can't get off. They can't get off. And it seems that everybody feels like that they deserve a high value man. That seems to be what's going on. And what I'm here to talk about is to tell you the reasons why you're not part of the high value conversation. And this is for the fellas and the ladies. Now, I have sat and I've listened to hours, I've watched hours of YouTube video of Mr. Samuels talk about high value. I've listened to hours and watched hours of video of other creators on YouTube and on their podcast talk about high value. And what I'm noticing is a lot of people have injected themselves into the conversation, and they don't even fit within the high value conversation. They don't fit in it whatsoever. There are men that feel like they're high value, they're injecting themselves. There are women that feel they deserve high value that are injecting themselves into the conversation that shouldn't be. Now, I'm basing high value on what many of us so far is what Kevin Samuels states high value is. Now, I'm not going to take that away from him. His definition is his definition. And honestly, all of these high value conversations are coming in response or in connection with his definition of high value. And like in that video where he told the young lady where, he's like, hey, you average at best. And that's really where a lot of us are. And so many people out here talking high value. So many people out here are putting videos out talking high value. And the average person doesn't fall into the high value category. Even myself, I don't fall into that. I'm not Kevin Samuels' definition of a high value man. Ladies, you're not Kevin Samuels' definition of a woman. Many of you, I mean, the average woman, like you told that lady, of a high value, a woman deserving a high value man. A good majority of the population isn't there. But here's the thing, though. I get that that's the conversation to jump on because it's what's hot right now. It's what's popping in the streets on YouTube and social media. But not enough people are talking about the average man, the average woman, the average situation. You see, we're all so caught up in the high value conversation, when in all reality, high value doesn't apply to us. There's not, if you've listened to his stats when he talks about high value men being a single digit number of the population, single digit, which means you have way more women looking for men that's only in the single digit population, a single digit percentage of the population, and that is it. What I'm trying to figure out is where, many of us have decided that we fit. We fit. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Why many of us don't fit. Why many of us are average. Many of us are average at best. And what we need to be talking about is average people, average situations, and the needs and wants of an average man, and what an average woman needs to know about the needs and wants of an average man. Now, the question may now be, oh, well, what do you consider average? Average, in my opinion, is the average everyday person, the average middle class, we'll say middle, lower class, middle, upper class individual, where most Americans fit within the spectrum. I can't talk about the poor. Now, it's not that I'm discriminating against the poor. It's just a whole different level of relationship type dynamics when you're dealing with the poor. And when I'm talking about the poor, I'm talking about the poor. I'm talking about, you get it. I don't even gotta go deep into it. That's the difference. We're talking about the average person, the average working everyday person out here. And there's not enough conversations being had about that. Everybody is talking about high value this, high value that. I deserve this. I deserve a high value man. Or I am a high value man. And let's get into why you're not a high value man. Let's get into why you are not a woman that should be pursuing a high value man. Now, I understand this video might hurt some feelings, but we got to speak the truth here. And a lot of you are trying to duck and dodge from the truth. And it's time to get the truth. It's time for the truth. And I know the truth hurts. Oh, I know it hurts bad. But it's the truth, and we need to be accepting of the truth. We're going to start with the fellas first. Fellas, based on the credentials provided by Kevin Samuels, one of the first reasons why you're not a high value man is because you are not making what he considers the high value salary. Now, the high value salary is salary that is over. Sorry, y'all. That is over. I'm not really sure what showed up on the screen when I did that, but my bad. I really should have turned. 1 second, y'all. I'm gonna turn my notifications off. I'm out here playing. Pardon me. While I put my phone on do not disturb because I'm out here acting a fool, being unprepared. Now, that is a man that makes 6 figures or more, generally mid to high 6 figures. You are a man with no children. You're a man where you got your shit together in life. You're successful, you're making good money, your head's wrapped on, screwed on straight. You're together. And I'm gonna keep it short. Like, I'm not gonna go into all the extra shit that he goes into. But basically, you're financially sound, you're a producer, you're a go-getter, you have your life in order. Period. But the money aspect is a huge part of it. And that's why a lot of these women want these high-value men, because these high-value men, their biggest draw is having their money right. And fellas, if you're not over that 6-figure number, you don't qualify. A lot of you don't qualify. I know damn well I don't qualify either. And that's it. That's it. Why ladies are gunning for these men, as I've stated many times before, women are hypergamous. They are looking for men with resources. Women want men with resources. Now, before I started this video, I just so happened to have been listening to Kevin Samuels before it started. And he was on a phone call with a woman, a single mother. And she called in and said that she deserved a high value man because that's what she felt that she deserved. And she wanted to send her kids to private school. And she deserved a high value man because she would be able to afford it if she had a high value man. Now, Mr. Samuels said, if you or your husband or your ex-husband could not afford it, what makes you think it's correct for you to ask a man to come in and invest in you and your kids going into private school? She really had no answer, and she really tried to dance around it. And she also asked, and this is an important question. This is important correction question for the average man. And maybe I'm going to let this one wait because this is a whole segment in itself. But what benefit does a man get out of that to put your children through school, especially if you and the father can't afford to do it? Wild, right? I mean, I'm just going, shit, it's wild as fuck. That's wild. Why do you feel that you deserve that? And especially he asked her, if the ex-husband was high value and he was not. And so in this point of it, you get what you are. And fellas, if you ain't high value, you're not gonna get the baddies that you're trying to get. And I'm not talking about just looks wise either. I mean, I'm not talking about just that. There's a lot of other qualifications that go within that. But a high value man, and this is where I see really no difference between men and women. I mean, between high value men and regular men. Men in general, what we care about is looks. If you have a man that cares more about what you do for a living or your degrees than looks, then you got a man on your hands that's looking for the come up. Period, point blank. He's selling is settling for the come up. So you need to watch out for that. So again, fellas, you're not making that money, making them dollars over 6 figures, and your life ain't together, you're not high value. You're not high value. Now, I've used terms in the past, high peak men, high quality men, and those are a little bit more fitting in the average man's frame, a little bit more. And I'll go into those in other videos as the details of what those are. But for the sake of the conversation right now, you don't belong in the high value conversation. So why are you in it? You shouldn't be in it, fellas. You're not in it. If you're not meeting those, and if you're curious after you watch this video and you want to know what's considered a high quality man, then you need to get on Kevin Samuel's channel and watch a few videos and get your education right so you can understand what that is. Ladies. Now, ladies, this is my discussion with you right now is going to be a lot longer than it was with the fellas. It's just not, because we can easily decipher whether a man is high value based on the requirements that Kevin Samuel laid. But the number one is the money. You're not making the 6 figures. You're not making the 6 figures. Ladies, why you are not in the high value conversation on a little bit different level, but let's get into it. Understand, if you don't fit within what a high value man wants out of a woman, you're automatically not within the high value conversation. You're just not. And understand, so don't be coming for me with pitchforks and all that shit. This is based on Kevin Samuels. And again, the only reason many of us are even talking about high value is because of him. So that's what this is based around. This is based around, nobody else was talking high value anything until he started that shit. And now everybody's doing it. You're not high value because a high value man, these are the things that he wants and does not want in a woman. His number one importance is he wants something that looks very good on his arms. He wants a very attractive woman. He wants a fit woman. He wants a woman that does not have children. I'm going to put these top 3. These are the top 3. Then we can just focus on them 3. If you ain't got them 3 down, we don't even really need to go further. If you're not fit, if you're not attractive, and you don't have kids, and you have kids, you're disqualified automatically. It's a wrap. And age too. So make it 4. And age. Age is important. Now, some of you is probably mad as hell right now. But I'm just telling you what high value man wants. And those 4 things, if those are against you right now, you are automatically disqualified. You're automatically disqualified. Because a question that you have to ask yourself is, what is a high value man going to invest in if those 4 things don't add up for him? What is he investing in? Think about that, especially when he has the pick of the litter. He has many options of women without children, many options of women who are stunningly beautiful, many options with women who are younger, many options with women who's fit. If you're lacking in those areas, you don't qualify. And it's not even negotiable. You can't come back with, well, I've got good character, and I can do this and I can do that, and I got a degree and I got a great job, because those aren't the things that he's asking for. You can't place a level of importance on the things that does not matter. And those things don't matter to him. I just told you what mattered. If you don't fit, you don't fit. Shit, I can stop it right there. If you're not in with that, you don't fit. Now, What we're not talking about enough is the average man. What does the average man want? Because the average man is for the most part, the lane you should be in. Now, I'm not saying the average man is not going to have wants, needs, standards, because the average man is going to have standards. I consider myself the average man, maybe a little above, but mostly average. And I got standards. I got wants and needs. I have things that are important to me that is going to dictate whether I feel like you would be a suitable partner for me. We also got to think about when the average man, we'll say the average man generally, there can be a lot of variances in where an average man is in life, where most of the time, these high value men, now understand, the more successful men in the world are married. They're married already. So they're off the market. So if you've got high value men left that are single, they're looking for marriage, they're looking to have kids, they're looking for a lot of things. Where an average man may take some concessions on a few things. There's going to be some that will take some concessions on a few things, but there are going to be others that ain't on certain things. Either way, you're going to have to meet whatever the qualification is. And let me tell you this. There are so many of you that can't even get an average man. So many of you are stuck in the dusty circle. You're stuck in that atmosphere and you can't get out. And you just keep attracting, you keep, laying up, posting up with dusty ass dudes, with below average men. And you're not even pulling the average man. And so many of you are actually like disqualifying yourself from the average man based on your history with the below average man, the dusty. And it's time we talk about that. It's time we talk about certain situations that may apply with the average man, that don't apply with the high value man, that the average man has to consider and think about as well. Just because a high value man doesn't want kids or wants kids, that doesn't mean an average value man is going to want one. Most likely, an average value man may not want kids, especially depending more kids if they have them. Because there's more, the average man might have more kids. Now, according to statistics, for instance, and we're talking about Black people here right now specifically, 51% of Black males are single and childless. Think about that, 51%. Now, you got to take into account those that may not want kids. You got to think about that too. But you have to apply these variables to these situations. This ain't a one-stop shop. This isn't only one situation applies. This is, you got to consider a bunch of situations. So this requires you as a woman to understand what the average man wants and needs are. And this is based on age, where he's at in life. He could be the average man. I mean, the spectrum and where he is in life can be, they can vary big time, because you can have an average man that was a late bloomer. You can have an average man who has older kids and maybe spent life paying child support, may have even been with the mother of the kids, and, financially, they're not either, paying child support anymore. They have a little bit more financial freedom, and they have a little bit more ability to then focus on themselves and focus on their career as their children have become adults. You're going to have that man. You might have one that's got young kids that might have had an established, job or employer for many years. Might be a blue collar dude, There's that man. He's the average guy. He's gonna have wants and needs too. There's gonna be variances. He may have young kids. He may want more young kids. He may want more young kids with you. Whereas you may find a man that's older, has older kids. He may not want any more kids. So the needs of the average man is going to vary in a wide spectrum. And you need to be open-minded enough to understand that spectrum could vary. And you could meet a man that's like, nope, I don't want any more children. You can meet a man that says, an average man that might say, I don't want to date anyone with children because I have children. You can meet an average man that says, I don't want to date any women with children because a lot of men today feel like they don't want to be a stepdad, that is not a job that benefits them. So you've got that. It's not just high value men that's saying that they don't want kids. An average man can say that too. And there are average men out here that do say that. They do say, hey, listen, I don't want to date anyone with kids because it's not a good deal for me. There's no benefit of me being someone's stepdad. There's no somebody else's kids as a liability. There are average men out here that believe that. So you got to put yourself in the position for the kind of average man that you want, because you're an average woman. So, if you're making 40, 50 a year, you probably want to date somebody that's kind of in a similar, maybe a little bit more than you. Because one thing that average people need to understand, that as average people, what applies to the high value don't apply to us. You can't make the same requirements of an average man that you can make of a high value man. You can't do it. And that's why you're not part of the conversation. See, some of us as average people, we can't make certain demands of things that are not in our lane. Like, I'm an average dude. I can't demand a supermodel of a woman. I'm not in that lane. So I can't walk around saying, I want a 5'9", 120, we'll say 140, 125 pound, beautiful buxom blonde, with not a imperfection inside on her body and 25 years old. I can't make that demand as an average man. Now, mind you, I could still date someone in that age range if I want to, but physically, I'm probably not going to be able to pull that as an average man. And some of us don't even want to try. So that takes me out of that conversation. Ladies, that takes you out of that conversation. If all you think that you bring all you feel that what you bring to the table is just yourself is good enough, and honestly, I mean, this is for average man and above. That might be the case for the Dusties. That might be the case for them, because a Dusty, a below average man, anything better than him is a come up. So that might be enough for them. But in average to above average to high value man, just you being present at the table isn't going to be good enough for them. And that right there alone disqualifies you from being in the high value conversation. Especially if you can't show a man reasons other than your presence as to why you would make a good partner for him. And there's too many people today that just feel, ladies, your presence is enough. And you're listening to your girlfriends, your mamas, your cousins. You're listening to them and letting them tell you what men want. But men, as men, we're telling you what we want. And some of you are just flat out refusing to give it. And that's fine for us because we can go find another. There's no issue. There's more of you than are of us. So if you ain't with the program, we can go on to the next one that is. But understand, as average people, especially an average woman, the older you get, the more time goes by, you're not going to be able to be as choosy. So take that into consideration. Now, I know some of y'all, you're not gonna like it. You don't like that. That sounds fucked up. I get it, but it is the way it is. Now, below average dudes and dusties, they gotta take whatever they can take. Now, I'm gonna say the above average man is probably a man that's a little bit more in tune with himself and in tune with his wants and needs, that has, that's very intelligent, that's very well spoken, that has got his shit. He got his mind right. He got his mind right. He may not have his money right now. He might be a struggling entrepreneur trying to come up, trying to do his thing. Because there's a lot of men that are starting over in life, over 35, over 40. They might have got divorced and they might have got getting taken to the cleaners and they need to restart their life. There's a lot of men, average men, that are in that situation. But he still gets to dictate what he considers an asset in his life and what he considers a liability. You got some men that can't afford to take on a single mother. They can't afford it. And you say you might be down with it if you make more money than him, but at some point, that's going to rear its ugly head, and that's going to show that that's not true. It's time for us average people to be doing average people things and having average people conversations. We don't belong in high value conversations. We belong in more realistic, real life conversations. Average people with problems, average people with issues, average people that are not in shape, average people that need more work, that are works in progress. We all want somebody to love us too. Everybody needs somebody. And that's what we need to be focused on. Not all this above average shit. Not all this high value shit. But you got to put yourself in a position to be an asset to someone that is above average and average. Because there are a lot of below average people out here. There are a lot of below average men. There are a lot of below average women. There are a lot. There's a saying that say water seeks its own level. So if you're below average, you're most likely going to date below average. Now, some of you are going to try to skip up to average, up to above average, up to high value. But the thing is that's not going to last long. And that's going to show over the course of dating someone that's not in your lane. That's why you're not in the high value conversation. Some of you alone, based on mental stability, knocks you out of the high value conversation. Because you've got a series of bad relationships, you've got unhealed trauma, you've got unresolved issues that you need to get through that's stopping you from having good relationships. That knocks you straight out of high value. It's time, if you want to become part of the high value conversation, you're going to have to level up. Ladies, you're going to have to meet the requirements of what a high value man wants. Fellas, you're going to have to get your money up. You're going to have to get your life together. We just can't decide we're high value because I just can't be like, well, I'm high value just because I said I am. No, that's not how it works. That's not how it works. And if you keep thinking that, just like this girl basically had her head pulled out the clouds, you're going to have yours pulled out the clouds too. And that video and that conversation with that woman hurt a lot of people's feelings. And a lot of people were upset about it. And it made a lot of people reevaluate how they see themselves. And it made a lot of people really mad and trying to deceive themselves into thinking that they're higher value than they really are. But we talking about the average man, the average man, the average woman. The average man has wants and needs, has standards. I'm not gonna go into all that today because that'll make the video long. That's gonna be a video coming down the line. But right now, take a look at yourself and ask yourself, can you be part of the high value conversation? I mean, I know I can't be part of it. I could talk about it. I could sit here and make a video about it. I could tell you you're not part of the conversation, but I know I'm not either. But I'm not part of the conversation and being able to say, I can command what I would consider a woman that would be on a high value man's level. I can't command that right now. Am I working towards that? Hell yeah, no, of course I'm working towards being a high value man. Why wouldn't you try to strive for more? And that's exactly what we're doing. We're trying to strive for more. So, ladies and fellas, those are the reasons why you are not part of the high value conversation. So it's time to stop watching these high value videos. It's time to stop trying to apply high value principles and ideologies to your life when you're just average at best. Level up, then get in those high value conversations. There's too many people out here living a high value lie. You're living a lie. And it's time to start living that lie. But that's going to conclude the show, y'all. Thank y'all for watching. This is the In Too Deep Show. You see on the bottom of the screen, you see where you can see me at, where you find me at online. Twitter, Facebook, IG, YouTube, Patreon. Also, my Cash App is down there. Support your boy. I would really appreciate it. You know, we're just coming up on YouTube. Got to put some hard work in to try to come up. I appreciate y'all support. Again, put in that work to become high value. If you want to know what it takes, book a session. Book a session. Let's talk about it. I've been given a lot of my coaching time available as a new coach for free, helping people out. But I gotta eat too, y'all. So you need help. You need a plan. You need a strategy. I got it for you. Book a session. Right now, I'm working on my website. So if you want to book a session, just click the book a session link down in the description, and you can get started. And we can start talking about whether you high value, which you might be high value. You're not shit. High value people might not even be watching my video. Assuming if you're watching my video, you're average. So if you're trying to figure out how to get out of below average up to average, how you can attract average men instead of below average dusties, I'm your mans. I'm your mans. I can strategize with you. I can help put you on the right track to what you need. Again, this is DEEP3R1. This is the In Too Deep Show. I appreciate you. Happy New Year. Stay safe. Stay healthy. I am out.